thought I would do this because PFF ranked all the starting quarterbacks in the league, and I don't know if I expected him to already be higher, but I still think it's a sign of respect. But they have Caleb Williams 19th among all NFL starting quarterbacks, as in like right now the best starting quarterbacks in the league.
Just outside the top half.
I think our guy Trevor Sikkema is the one who did the rankings. And I think the reason why it's a sign of respect is if you look how he kind of has them tiered, after Caleb is all like the next generation of quarterbacks as he describes it. And he's already got Caleb in the like group of established starters. Now there's some things I would quibble with, like, you know, how high he's got Kirk Cousins. Would I rather have Kirk Cousins starting week 1 or Caleb Williams? I'd go Caleb Williams, you know, stuff like that. But still, I think for somebody who's never played a down in the league yet, it's a pretty, you know, good sign of respect for Caleb Williams. And it got me thinking, because it's like Carm likes to remind you many, many times, the Bears technically could have moved on from Justin Fields a year earlier.
Yep.
They did have the number 1 pick last year. Now, the way it's worked out, the trade they made, getting DJ Moore, all this other draft capital, landing in a situation where they're able to take Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze, it's worked out spectacular. And they got Darnell Wright last year to help Caleb Williams. So I don't even really allow my brain to go down that road because I think it's worked out. And if I had to do a redraft right now, I would actually still draft Caleb Williams over CJ Stroud. Like, if they were all available right now today in a draft, who would you take number 1?
You're telling me right now I can have.
You're drafting the quarterback for your franchise, and they're both available.
That's a real tough call. You're talking about a guy in his rookie year who threw for 4,108 yards, who threw 23 touchdown passes, 5 interceptions, had a QBR of, what was it? Hold on. Thank you very much.
Just give me your answer.
I'd take CJ.
You'd have to
Okay.
take
I would take
CJ
CJ.
Stroud.
I would
And
take
I'm in love with the idea of what Caleb Williams can become as a Bear. But knowing what, if you're saying I can make my pick knowing what I know from what CJ
that's what you
did,
do.
right?
You do. You have that
Then
ability.
you have no choice.
Okay, Nick.
You have no choice.
Man, this is tough. I'm going Caleb Williams because of there's just a special talent that I know he has in him. We just got to see it this season.
Yeah.
If we're not talking, we should be talking like about CJ Stroud like we're going to be talking about Caleb Williams after this season. So I'm going to go Caleb.
I'm going to go Caleb too. But that's a different conversation necessarily than me just ranking the quarterbacks as they are now, which is what Trevor Sikkema did. So what I decided to do was just look at all the quarterbacks that were drafted either last year or this year. The quarterbacks the Bears technically could have added to their team in the last 2 years when they've had these number 1 picks and the decisions that they've made. Okay, so I wanted to establish that off the top, that this isn't like a redraft, because if this was a redraft, I would actually put Caleb Williams number 1. But this is more looking at it just right now, where I think these quarterbacks are in terms of their chances for continued success in the NFL. Looking at factors like talent, their overall talent, the situation they got put in, which is enormous, and I talk about it constantly, their opportunity that's in front of them right now, and then as a factor, the experience that they've already gained. And that last one here is key as we look at the top 5 in my list, is why I do have to put CJ Stroud number 1. For the reasons that you guys brought up. He did throw for over 4,000 yards last year.
Right.
He was NFL Rookie of the Year. He has already shown in the NFL that he can do these things. So I think it would be pretty ludicrous to sit here and be like, oh, I already think Caleb Williams is better. I think he can be. If I had to pick between them to draft him to my team right now, I would take Caleb Williams. But in terms of where they rank right now, CJ Stroud is number 1. I do have Caleb Williams number 2. After that, I'm going Drake May. I pre-draft was very high on Drake May. I like the situation he's in, landing with the Patriots. I think of all of these quarterbacks that we're going to end up seeing here, and I think you're going to find out as we go through these, there's kind of a drop-off. In fact, I think there's a big drop-off after number 3 with Drake May. Between all these quarterbacks that have been drafted in the last 2 years. Remember, that's what we're talking about, just those 2 quarterbacks. Number 4, I go with J.J. McCarthy. And this is partially because I did have him ranked higher than Jaden Daniels coming out. But he was definitely in the category, both of those quarterbacks were, in, man, this really depends on where they end up, right? I think McCarthy ended up in a great spot with Kevin O'Connell. The weapons they have in Minnesota with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson.
They suck.
There's a lot to like about where J.J. McCarthy ended up, which is why I put him ahead of Jaden Daniels at number 5. And then this is really kind of where I struggled because now we get into the Anthony Richardsons, who was hurt last year, the Bryce Youngs, who's not in a good spot at all, in my opinion. I struggle with Bryce Young, who I ended up putting 7th behind Anthony Richardson. I think Richardson, even before he got hurt last year and he suffered 2 different injuries, you saw the potential. You saw the talent. We got to see it up close and personal last year in
training camp
in Indianapolis when the Bears went there and practiced against the Colts. So I just think I like the hire that the Panthers made, but I'm still not in love with all the talent they have there in Carolina. I think the ownership sucks. I think I'm still worried about Bryce Young's height and overall size. I just think he's in a bad position there. Where he ended up getting drafted was horrible for him and his chances to succeed. And again, these rankings are based on that. You got to think about it like,
and you talk about fit. If you put Bryce in Minnesota,
it'd be different.
Their spots are probably flipped.
It'd be different.
No doubt.
And honestly, Bryce Young, I like more than. I'd probably have him just based on talent, like in a redraft behind or between Drake May and J.J. McCarthy. Yeah. But when you factor in the situation and the actual chances for success here going forward, that's where I have Bryce Young 7th. I'll go through 8, 9, 10, and we can I'll let you guys chime in on what you think about it so far.
Yeah.
But I do have Michael Penix 8th. I think there it's just,
when are you gonna see him?
Yeah, when is he? So he doesn't check the opportunity box. I think it's a decent situation.
Yeah, a lot of weapons.
Learn behind Kirk Cousins. I do like the talent, but the opportunity's really not there. Will Levis at 9. I didn't really love what I saw last year from Will Levis. There was flashes of talent.
They've had some significant upgrades, though. You got Calvin Ridley, Tyler Boyd, Tony Pollard. I don't hate his situation.
Situation's fine. I just don't love the overall talent or what I saw last year. Bo Nix, I'm very high. I'm not high on Bo Nix. You guys know that. I've been very transparent on how I feel about Bo Nix as a prospect. Not in love with them. He was not in our Bears 100.
Short-lasting Bo.
The reason I still have him 10th, though, is because obviously I could be wrong. He did go to a place where he should get opportunity.
Sean Payton.
I don't think Jarrett Stidham is going to be the starter for long. It is Sean Payton coaching him. Yeah. So in terms of chance for success, it's on the table that it works out. I would bet against it. But when you see the next 5 guys on this list, I think that's why I still put him number 10. Any strong objections or agreements to what I have so far?
Really quickly on Anthony Richardson, I think he's definitely talented. Over the last 4 years, you guys, and going back to college, he has a total of 477 passing attempts. It's a crazy, because that was a big thing about him. He hasn't passed the ball enough. He only had 84 attempts in the pros in the few games that he played with the Colts before ultimately his season ended. Like a supreme talent, but I just feel like that's going to be the reoccurring issue with a guy like Anthony Richardson. How available is he going to be in his NFL career? So very talented, but could go down like the Justin Fields route of always, being not available. So
he's going to have to wait a minute. But my biggest quibble, I guess, right now would be Penix, because I think first of all you got a guy who's coming off an ACL tear who at does he play for the next 2 years? Maybe, but maybe not. And
Penix?
Yeah.
He doesn't have a torn ACL.
No, I'm talking about Achilles.
For Cousins.
For Cousins,
Okay,
yeah. So like, people are just assuming he's going to be all right. I mean, the guy could be like beyond statuesque at this point. How long is he going to be there? Okay, fine. So he's going to sit for a year, maybe a year and a half. Like, I don't hate that situation for him. I don't care that he's going to be 25 or 26 when he gets in there. The dude can spin it. So I'm optimistic that when he gets his chance, he's actually going to show. And they obviously are going to give him a chance.
So you think Penix should be higher?
I do think he should be higher.
I get that argument. I mean, despite the lack of opportunity, the obvious opportunity right now.
And I'm also wondering where Bajan is on this list, even though I know where he's on this list, because that's obviously
due time. Good things.
It's only a matter of time.
It's ahead of first.
Well, let's get to our last 5 here before we just to wrap up the segment, because you're going to see your guy on these last 5. I do have Aiden O'Connell, who's still in potentially, has a potential to start this year for the Raiders. Although Karma loses mine if his guy Gardner Minshew doesn't win that battle. And then shout out to Tyson Bagent and Tommy DeVito, 2 undrafted guys from last year's quarterback class that did get on the field, did some good things. Personally, I like Bagent more than DeVito. I think DeVito, his numbers were actually a little bit better than Bagent's, but I think that was a flash in the pan. I think Bagent, is a solid
operate the offense, man.
Backup that is going to stick. Don't forget about Hendon Hooker and Stetson Bennett. Now, I like Hooker more as a player, but these are 2 guys that make the list because they are the backups for 2 teams that are good, that have, especially in Bennett's case, Stafford playing a full season, not a given. He's the backup there. Don't be shocked if Stetson Bennett plays this year. I like Hooker more. He is Jared Goff's backup right now in Detroit. And, if Jared Goff were going to go down, I would actually like to see what that looks like with Hooker coming in with a very good team. He's been there for a year. So those are 2 guys that also make the list and round out my rankings of the first and second year quarterbacks in the league right now.
We all silly like the mayor.